So this is our second podcast episode. Hopefully everybody enjoyed our last one about, my journey through real estate, how we got to open up Foraker Realty. Mm-hmm. I thought it would be a good idea to bring on Sabri today. Sabri, you've got an awesome story about, you started in real estate, I think, and, basically to make a long story short, last year you ended up with, I think it was 49 or 50 transactions, right?
Yeah.
So I know you've probably went firsthand through all the struggles that people have went through. And I think a lot of people will be able to get a lot of value out of it. So just to get started, I guess, the first thing is, what does that achievement mean to you? I'm sure you've went through it mentally all the way up to getting there. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, man. To be honest, I remember at the end of 2022 setting a goal with the team of doing 50 transactions. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was as possible, once I started and got into it and put the systems in place. And then after achieving it, it really meant a lot to me. And I think I didn't even realize that I hit it until we had a one-on-one, and he was like, man, you're actually at, I think it was 51 plus the pendings and things like that. And I was just because I'm not the type that looks at my numbers every single day. So the fact that at the end of the year, seeing that I surpassed the goal, it was very rewarding and proved to myself that, anything is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge goal. And I think, I'm on the recruiting side, so I see what other agents are doing, and I'm tracking about 8,000 agents. I think 6,000 of them have done less than one transaction last year. So,
wow.
I would say with those numbers, you're probably in the top 40, 50 in the area. So, looking back, what would you say were your biggest challenges into this point?
Biggest challenges. So I started out, of course, part-time. I really started real estate to make some extra money. For my situation, having my son in a different state, I just wanted to have money for plane tickets. Wasn't making that much money at the time at my 9-to-5 job. And then actually when I got into real estate, I just fell in love with it. My first client, she was in her later years, but she never owned a home. And, there were some challenges with that transaction, but getting to the finish line and seeing her crying and giving me a hug at the end and really changing someone's life, making something possible that they didn't think was possible.
Yeah.
I was just this is something that I want to do. After playing basketball, I was searching for that purpose, something to give me that fulfilling, wanting to wake up every day and make a difference. And real estate has done that for me. And the biggest shift, I think, was treating it like a business, treating it like a job, because at first it started out as a side hustle. But jumping into it full time is waking up every day. This is my business, and I take pride in it. And when I had that mindset shift and put the systems in place, working with you and the team here, I was just man, it's go time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. It's crazy. Like you said, you didn't even think it was possible. And then, I think that's what, when you set a huge goal like that, all right, I want to do 50 deals. It seems like that, right? But when we break it down and we're all right, let's chunk that into 12 weeks, and you chunk it all the way down to, all right, what's my goal for the day tomorrow?
Yeah.
I need to set one appointment. I can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, breaking it down into the smaller micro goals over time, that just like anything in life, that compound interest, that compound every day consistency is going to add up. I remember in the beginning of the year, 2023, I had my goals up on the board, road to 50. I put that up on my whiteboard. Yeah. And I would write down, how many offers I put out that week, how many pendings I have. And then at the bottom, it was closed transactions. And it was the slash out of 50. And I remember just being at after a couple months, I was only at 10, and I'm just I'm behind. 10 out of 50, you're so far away.
Yeah.
But when you break it down to those micro goals per quarter, now it's okay.
You're not too far.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if you don't get it, you're still a winner if you set a high goal and you don't make it, So that's good to hear. So was there a point, you got started, you did your first deal. What did the first 2 years look like? So how many years are you in now?
Year 5.
Year 5? Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the first few years I
think I did like 6 transactions. I think the first year I did 6 transactions. The next year was like maybe like 10 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah. So and it stayed that way. And I think the year that I came over to Foraker, that year I did like less than 20. And then when I came over, I finished with like 30 deals, I believe. And then it went from like 30 to
50.
50.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I know on my side, it's like you just listen to the stuff we talk about and do it, and that's all it is. I mean, everybody knows what to do, truthfully.
It's just
yeah.
It's literally, man, and that's like in every aspect of life. Like we know what to do. Like we want to get in shape. We know we got to get up early, go to the gym, or not even say get up early, but you got to work out or you got to, eat better. When it comes to this, we know we got to make our calls. And you say it all the time, like do something today that you don't want to do something today that sucks. And, it's kind of like embracing that suck, and it's going to just get you closer to that goal. Like if you do one thing every day that you don't want to, over time, it's just going to become, habitual. And
it's like everybody does what they want to do. That's what I always think to myself. Like everybody calls when, you had 3 cups of coffee and the sun's shining.
Yeah.
It's going great. Favorite songs, like everybody calls then. But like who calls when, it's raining out and nobody else is going to work, and that's what's going to get you ahead.
Yeah, man. Like forcing yourself to do that. Like I was talking about it this morning, like one thought can ruin your whole day. Like you may wake up and just like nothing's going right. You may have had to, drag yourself out the bed, barely worked out. And you don't want to make those calls, but if you do it, those are the days that are going to be the separation. Like when you don't feel like doing it on that Saturday, putting an extra hour or 2 in to call or follow up with some clients. I'm noticing that's making the biggest difference in my career.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how much that compounds, if you call an extra 3 hours on a Saturday and an extra 20 minutes a day, what is that, over the course of the year? That's just days and days and days you're ahead of somebody else. So, okay, let's get back on track. Everybody stay with me if I'm off track. But did I ask you what were some of the early obstacles you faced and how'd you overcome them?
Oh, yeah, I think I went off on a tangent. But so some of the early obstacles I would say was really just time management because I wasn't doing it full time. And as I started to see my business grow, you're kind of in that pickle, like, okay, do I take off of work and do this? Like, had to like kind of make that decision. That was the biggest thing when it was part-time, just kind of like leveraging my time. And then also minimizing how many things I put on my plate. Like I tend to be like someone who puts too many things on and like hard to say no. And I think that was working against me. So once I kind of scaled back and identified the pillars of my business, like what things am I going to focus on, whether it be calling, social media, open houses, home buyer seminars, whatever it is. Once I scaled back that, I think that kind of, helped my schedule out a lot. But time management was the biggest obstacle.
Time management?
Yeah. We still try to master it, but
yeah. I think that's something that you're just always going to be working on. Like, my coach has a 12-week course on your schedule only. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's stuff comes up and it's easy when, humans aren't involved, but, you were also running your clothing business, right?
Yeah. I was doing too much
fitness videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like that's, cause I tried to like, I don't know if it's this book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. I try to like, do something different when it comes to content, and like fitness and all of that stuff was kind of my way of, being different, and it still is. But I realized I can't be the jack of all trades if I can't master one. And real estate was still early on for me. So last year, a lot of people were like, man, you're not doing fitness, you're not doing your brand anymore. And I was like, I am, but I had to put that on the back burner so I could really, establish myself in the real estate game. And now that I have that comfortability, now I can get back into that and leverage it and actually make it work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you dive into something like that, like we do our script practice and stuff like that, and you go through it, now it's like, I will bet you that an hour of calling this year with how much you've learned over calling the last year and all the, script practicing and everything is like a week of calling before,
way more productive.
Yeah. Like people see me and they're like, oh, you got lucky on the first call. And it's like, I didn't get lucky.
You put the time in.
Yeah. I didn't get lucky on that call. Like, I've been cussed out 3,000 times. And I just know, like, you know, everything, how to change your voice, how to, you know, throw in a little laugh, whatever it is. So,
people don't see that behind the scenes stuff. They see the glory. They see you killing it, doing deals, opening your own brokerage, but they don't know the hours you put in on year one. You being still to this day. Like, I remember other day, it was dark outside and you were the only one in the office. You know what I mean? We were on FaceTime and you were like, "Are you still working?" Like, you know. But that's the separation, and that's why you're successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you have that, like, if you work hard and you do it every day and you put in more hours than everybody else,
can't catch up.
Yeah, like nobody's going to catch up, you know? And that's what I always tell everybody. Like, if I'm only doing 10% of what I'm doing right, and I'm working 4 times as much as somebody else, all right, well, now I'm at 40% of high level productive, like, it's working stuff. So, you know, by March, the way we work, we're going to have more done than most people are going to have in the whole year.
Exactly.
You know? So, all right. So your biggest obstacle, you said, was time, managing your time. I remember meeting and we're like, you're trying to schedule time to rest because I'm meeting with other agents and I'm like, you need to get up and do something. And you're like, I need to sleep more. I haven't slept.
Yeah, man. Because burnout is real.
30 miles today. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you met me when I was marathon training. So that was a beast in itself. And that's one thing I really learned, though, like, that burnout is real. And, you know, you do have to listen to your body and, you know, make those adjustments. And I'm like the overachiever type of person where it's like, I can do that. And it's hard to say no to certain things. And I want to just be better every day. So sometimes it can be a blessing and a curse. But, I mean, sleep is very important too with the type of days that we have. Like, we could be working till freaking 10 or past that, you know. So making sure we prioritize rest so that we were charged up for the next day.
Yeah. That's so true. Like, I notice some days if I don't stop and take a lunch or something like that, or at least take 5 minutes, like, I'm like miserable by like 7 o'clock.
Yeah, man. Because you got to think about it. In this business, weekend is prime time. You know what I mean? So we're working not only Monday through Friday, but Saturday and Sunday. So, like, you know what I mean? And then, you know, family comes into play and having to eat lunch, you know what I'm saying? So, like, what I learned here was the time blocking. Like, it really, like, your schedule is everything, man. Like, and one thing I'm getting better at is saying no. Like, if there is someone that wants to see something at, like, on a Sunday, like, maybe having a cutoff time or leveraging other people, like a buyer's agent, or, you know, using it. That's the beautiful thing about working here. Like, we have a transaction coordinator, listing manager. So some of that admin stuff that I used to be bogged down with, I can kind of leverage that, and also leverage, you know, other agents and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate hearing that, because as I went through, I noticed, you know, you have a ceiling where you need that assistant, right? And then you have another ceiling where you need a transaction coordinator and stuff like that. And, like, a solo agent, you know, if you paid $500 a deal, you would have to do 100 deals before it would break even to pay more than, like, what you would pay a transaction coordinator.
Right. So
what I try to do is eliminate that obstacle. I hire her, put her on salary. So now you can get it, you know, a la carte, and only do it a little bit, only pay if the deal closes. It doesn't mess you up, because it's a big investment.
Yeah.
You know, imagine you're trying to make that jump of quitting your job, but
you're still trying to pay someone else.
Yeah, like, you're paying somebody else's salary. Like, you can't do that, you know?
Yeah.
So, that's good to hear. So, all right, let's move on. I know we're going to get off topic. So, all right. So after, you know, the first few years, you got to those 20 deals, you know, there was probably a big jump from 10 to 20, but was there anything specific you noticed in the last year that took you from doing 20 to getting to 50? I mean, that's a big jump, and that's a different mindset. Like, you know.
Yeah. And you hit it right on the head, the mindset. Like, man, it's like, you have to, first off, like, remember I said in the beginning of the episode that, you know, not thinking it was possible, but, like, shifting that mindset to, like, seeing, you know, like, hey, this is possible. Like, when I started, like, closing the deals and I'm, like, looking at them like, man, I can do this, you know, so first off, getting out of my own way, and then just kind of just being very strategic when it comes to my follow-up. I think that was the biggest difference last year. And it wasn't even the whole year. Like I started out a certain way and then I kind of like flipped that switch. Last year, a lot of agents, like 60,000 plus agents got out of business, and the headlines of like, oh, agents aren't going to get paid. That kind of scared me a little bit, after leaving my job. I'm like, oh man, did I make the right decision here? Like, what's going on? And,
you're making good money.
Yeah, I walked away from a really good job, really good benefits and things like that. And I remember my last day at my job, like one of my teammates, she was just like, you're crazy. She's like, why would you leave this job? And I'm just like, dang, on the day that I'm like packing up, I'm hearing this. So it's like, but I had to like push past that. And, people still say stuff, family's not going to always understand why you're going to go for it, but we only have one life. And I posted it on my story today, like, it's a new 24 every day. Like no matter if yesterday was bad or good, you got just carpe diem today, like new opportunities, like let's go. But yeah, man, going back, I know I go off on a tangent sometimes.
Sorry, I'm right there with you. I'm like, I'm right there with you. We can go off too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good. So,
what was I saying? So yeah, the being strategic with the follow up.
Yeah.
So boom. So like the night before, knowing who I'm going to call the next day. Yeah. The task that I set, being strategic, not just say, oh, call. In the call log, I'm saying, hey, call back about Jane Smith's surgery that she had to see how it went. How's your recovery going? Call back about Joe Smith's son who just had a birthday. You know what I mean? Be strategic with that and leaving the notes during the first call. I've noticed that like people really feel special. Like, dang, this dude's like on it. He's paying attention and, leveraging technology. It just really makes us look good with AI as well. So
yeah,
just really being not slacking on follow-up. I think that was the biggest difference.
And was last year, you think, the first time you scheduled calling and did that? Yeah.
Before coming over here, I never cold called. Like,
right.
I just kind of just relied on sphere of influence and social media. But I realized pretty quick that, hey, I can't really like scale this too far. Like some people are really killing it. And one day I think I've done well for social media. I get a lot of referrals and business from it.
Yeah.
But like to be where I want to go, that just has to be a pillar. Right. Calling is a main pillar in my business now, and that's made a big difference. And
right,
like you said, overcoming that obstacle, calling at first was just like pulling teeth, but now it's like, okay, like this is like second nature.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm assuming that people listening are wondering who you're calling.
Yeah. So always call past clients. People that have closed, people that already know. Like,
is there a system to that, or what do you?
Yeah. So I kind of like, for all my people, I have them on like a certain like type of smart plan. Like I call every like past client on their home anniversary, but I try to make sure I talk to them every 90 days. So I kind of set a task. So every day when I go into my CRM, I see, okay, call, Jane or whatever, whether it's a home anniversary or not, whether it's just a check-in call.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, online leads that we have here, I'm calling those people, if they're nurturing, they're not looking to buy until like 6 months down the line. I call them every 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the conversation I had. And then my hot people that are like ready to go and just looking for the right house, I'm calling them every week. So
okay.
Just setting those tasks.
Awesome. And then when you're done the call, you're logging, here's how the next call should go and here's when it should take place, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So take notes.
That's a game changer too.
Man, because now it takes out one more thing that we have to think about. Instead of scrolling, like, what did I talk about last with them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm calling agents right now and recruiting, and it's weird. It's like I'm rebuilding a whole business, for trying to build the company. And one thing that's helped me out is when I hang up with somebody, I write like the first few words of our next phone call. So it'll be like, hey, I'm not leaving my company. We love it here. Just moved over. Okay, well, the next appropriate call, what would that script be? And now I just go and look, and I'm like, all right, here's what I'm saying. I don't know. I just say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. So what's been like, to piggyback off to you, what's been, because, that's something new for you. And we're all going to have, as we grow, we're going to have new challenges. Like calling buyers of FSBOs is like second nature to you. But now calling agents, that's a new challenge for you. What's been the biggest challenge, and how have you been able to overcome that?
So that's a great question. I mean, the hardest part is doing it and making the phone calls. Everything was difficult, but I mean, first of all, just figuring out exactly what we want here, because we put so much time into an agent, and if they come over and they're just, like you said, looking for that friends and family plan where they're going to maybe, not really have the same values and try to grow their business. And that's a lot of time wasted for the company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me and stuff. But I want to help people that do want to grow. And, what questions do you ask to identify those people, right? Versus someone who just wants leads. But I mean, we're going to give people leads, but we want someone that's going to be motivated and try and grow and, get off of that. But so making the phone call, it's very uncomfortable. I don't know why. And the first obstacle was me trying to figure out why it's uncomfortable. And then I just realized that it doesn't really matter because the next step is to just make the call, whether I figure that out or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then moving on from that, it's like I'm pushing through that uncomfortableness because it's easy for me to just hire an ISA and have someone call. Like we had an ISA who was setting me appointments over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But once I started going to make that call and I feel that uncomfortableness, I'm like, I need to get through this. Like I know that I need to get through that. So we're just doing it. And dealing with, it's a whole new game. It's a whole new set of emotions you're dealing with, goals and everything like that.
Yeah. Like you said, it goes back to what you said, just doing it. Like
just doing it.
Like we know what to do. Like we can listen to a podcast in the morning about motivation and things like that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to boots on the ground, just putting the work in. And like you said, it's so crazy because we're all at different stages of our journey. That's why I love like the correlation with fitness and business. Cause like everyone's at a different stage, you know what I mean? Whether you start today or tomorrow, like there's always gonna be somebody ahead of you. There's gonna be people behind you. Like for me, for example, calling sellers I'm in that stage, right. Like now I'm more comfortable, but when I first started calling sellers, I'm just like, Brian, like, man, what do I do? Like, it's a different set of emotions. Like buyers are like, for me, they're easier because, hey, they're raising the hand. Like I enjoy that first time home buyer experience, they lean more on you, but some sellers it's just like, now I have to compete for a listing. Now I have to break past that barrier of them thinking that an agent's not valuable. And so, yeah, it's like, but to you, sellers is just like second nature, Yeah. So
it was so funny because I was sitting in the gym the other day and I have auto calls going out and someone called back one of them and I'm sitting there and I answer the phone like in the middle of the like this waiting room. There's like 20 people around me.
Yeah.
And I'm just hardcore negotiating with this expired listing. And I'm like, I hang up the phone and I'm like, man, that like all just came to me. Like there was a time where I would have been freaking out. Like I need to look up the address. I need to look up who it is. I need to have my script. I need that. And once I hung up, I'm just looking around. There's like 10 people looking at me. I'm just like, all right, see you guys. Like it just came second nature. So,
yeah. That's dope, man.
Yeah. You got to just push through it.
Yeah.
You're doing good with expires and FSBOs now though.
Yeah. Still I have to, get my juices flowing before I start calling them. Like, got to beat on my chest a little bit. Like, let's go. I'm about to lock one up today.
Yeah.
But no, I love this business because you have to grow. Like, if you want to stay in it, like, it's more of a spiritual journey than anything. Like, believing in yourself every day when you wake up. Like, it's easy to just like, I got a couple things in escrow already. I'm cool. I already got my pendings for January. Take the foot off the gas, but it's like, nah, let's separate and push past.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's the journey's the fun part, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like leaning into that uncomfortableness because it's kind of nice, because you're growing when you're feeling that. It's not, it's easy to say like, oh, that gives me anxiety, this, that, or the other. And the other blessing that we have is that it is uncomfortable and no one else is going to do stuff that's uncomfortable. So you're calling that expired. Well, instead of all 8,000 agents calling, there's probably 6.
Right.
And, so, all right, well, this is why I wanted Kate, because I knew you and me were just going to get off topic.
That's how all our combos go.
Yeah.
We have to be like sometimes like, all right, man, I'll talk to you later.
That's funny. All right. So the last question I asked was after your initial, okay. Did you have to have any, when you went from 20 to 50, was there a change with, the increase in volume that you had to do with any systems, anything like that? Or
I think, yeah, for sure. The system was going back to calling, setting that time block of 2 hours a day, trying to have at least 10 conversations a day. Like once I quantified those type of things, like not just calling, but having an objective for calling, like I want to get this many people on the phone.
Right.
And then that leads to, if you do 10 a day, that leads to talking to 50 people a day. And just having to stick to that is a challenge in itself, because once you start getting those appointments, having the discipline to, all right, if I'm out on some buyer appointments, I missed my call session this morning, I have to do it at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Doing that really helped make a difference in staying disciplined. I wasn't 100% with it. Some days I was burnt out, but pushing through those moments, I think was the game changer.
Awesome. I agree. That's tough, because like you said, after you do your calls for a week, now you go into your calls and you have 10 appointments and you got to still make your calls.
Yeah.
Right? So, when you made that change, I didn't want to get off this topic, from your job to coming full time.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the people that are listening to this are probably facing the same issue. How did you do it? Did you set a goal first? I mean, I know the answer because we did it together, but
Yeah. I think that year, we were saying, all right, before I leave, let's get to 20 transactions or 20 pending. And I think I left before we got to 20, but that was the goal. Like, it was like, hey, let's get to 20, because we kind of quantify how much I was making at the job. And it was like, all right, well, if you do this many, this is going to supplement that. So it's like, all right, so what's the excuse now?
Right.
But I kind of went a little bit too early. I was kind of,
I remember calling you and you're like, actually, I've been gone for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't even tell anyone. I just was like, you know what? One day because the more I jumped into this business, the more I'm seeing, and I had two minds. And in this business, it's possible to start. I always recommend starting out part-time first if you already have a job, because this business is not easy. You know what I mean? Like, if you're capable of doing it, but in the beginning as a new agent, you have to have that plan. Or if you have a safety net, that's different. I didn't have a safety net at that time. But I just was feeling like, man, like something was telling me like, only way you're going to go is to jump all in. And, there's greatness on the other side of that fear. And I was just like, you know what, let's go. So I sent my 2 weeks in, and I was scared it took me a while to send the message. I had it in drafts for like a week, sent it to my supervisor. And then I was just like, I'm out. And I've had turn back moments that we talked about before. But I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I mean, you should definitely be proud of yourself, but it's one of those things where you come to a fork in the road, and it's like, really the question is, do I believe in myself or not? It's not like, because everybody else out there can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that comes down to a mindset, like just believing you can do it. Like, negativity is always going to creep in. Like, I think I heard on your last podcast that it's still scary, your journey, like every day. And people like me and other agents on the team looking at Brian like, man, like we'll never get, some people don't think that it's possible to get to your status, what I mean? And you're hard on yourself. And the same thing, it might be an agent looking up to me, and I'm not thinking I'm doing enough,
Right.
It's just like that fear never goes away, but that fear is a blessing because it keeps you going. It keeps you going because you're like, man, this could all end tomorrow. Like, I can have 10 pending, and then we've all seen it. And then we're like, man, our transactions are down. Like, what's going on?
Right.
Outside of our, the market.
Yeah.
Sometimes things we can't control, but yeah, man, just getting over that fear every day.
That's what it is. And you're right. It is a blessing. Everybody says like, why do you have that? But it's good, And if you don't have it, you're not pushing yourself hard enough.
That's right.
So, and you're glad you made the jump, right? From work?
Yeah, man, I'm glad. Like, I couldn't see myself like doing it. Like, of course I know there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and that's in any business, but it's just like, all right, well, let's pivot.
Right.
Technology's the way we do business may change, but it's all about if I'm going to pivot. And I feel comfortable with the team we are, because, man, we're always staying ahead of the real estate game, whether it comes to technology or things that are working. And that's one thing I love about the environment we have here. Like, even though we're not like like a team per se, we all operate like a team. Like,
right.
Even like Jason, he has a huge team, but he's willing to give that info. Like, it's not, there's not a lot of gatekeeping going on.
Yeah. It's crazy. When you try to hold stuff back, it doesn't work, but when you learn it and then you teach it, it's much better.
Right.
So, all right, let's dive in to your sources of business.
Yeah.
So you said you had a couple pillars. What do you think, what are your main pillars? And are you going to do anything different this year to try to grow, to hit your new goal?
Yeah. So main pillars, of course, cold calling, whether it be buyer leads, expires, FISBOs, time blocking to call those every day.
Right.
Posting on social media consistently. That's a main pillar and a main lead source for me. Sphere of influence, of course, calling past clients and sending them, whether it be like mailers or postcards. I know we automate that. Just staying in contact with them, like with our touch plan that we have. And then also home buying seminars is another main pillar for me as well.
Yeah.
Open houses, I do those too.
Yeah. Okay. So sounds like you're doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Your last home buying seminar, you said you had what, like how many people on there?
There were 15 people on the actual call.
Wow.
Yep. And we got I think we had 5 pre-approvals from that.
Wow. Okay.
2 people I already have been shopping with already.
And the other 5, but you also got, how many people signed up?
I think there were a total of 22 signups. So got their emails, and I always, after, even before, I always send them like a welcome email and say, hey, look forward to the call, just so they get a reminder. People's lives, they may forget about it. And if they weren't on a call, now I have their contact already. I add them to my weekly email and I call them.
Yeah. That's great. Now, you send the other sources we're talking about your weekly email too?
Yeah, that's another pillar. That's kind of like second nature. The weekly email, that's a good pillar for me as well. I send everyone the weekly email. So depending on what it is for that week, I may only send it to, like my seller clients or past clients, because it may be an article or blog catered towards the benefits of selling your home. But if it's more general, I'll send it to everyone. And then for the people that are still shopping hot and nurtures, I send them something that's a benefit, like, hey, mortgage rates are still on the decline, to give them some optimism, so strategic in that way.
Right. And then what do you use to send that? Do you use Lofty?
Yeah, using Lofty to send that is beautiful. I get the blog or make it in ChatGPT based on the article that I've read, drafts it up for me, personalize it based on, how I want it to sound a little bit. Go ahead and get my list, select all.
Yeah. Nice.
15 minutes.
That's awesome. And then a lot of people are going to say that's too much. Have you had anybody that's like, hey, that's way too much, stop emailing me so much?
A handful of people. No one's ever said take them off of the weekly emails.
Okay.
I've had people say take me off of a drip campaign based on I'm sending them houses and they're on the sideline. Hey man, remove me from your search. I've had those, but from the weekly email, I'm getting more people saying, hey, thanks for this, or people responding like, oh wow, I didn't know that. Or like when we do like a little a ZMA, or hey, how much equity did you gain? Like a lot of people are like responding to that because they're like, wow, I didn't know.
That's a winner. Yeah, that's a good that's a good email. That's awesome. Email's free. Email was how I doubled down on my sphere of influence last year, and I think I'm getting 2 come list me calls a month off of sending weekly emails.
Wow.
It's crazy. And it's free. Doesn't take me anything. Takes Kelly probably 15 minutes to do the whole thing. And I think it gives value to our people too, because there's so much misinformation out there.
Yeah, the headlines are going to think man, so many people I talk to every day think that oh yeah, the market's about to crash, and they just have no idea that there's literally a client I had last week just lost out on 15 offers. They have no idea that that's these prices, if rates go based on what the Fed is calling, you know what this is going to be like, man. It's going to be it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be. Nobody wants to be buying a house here with the rates that low. I mean, it'd be great for a seller, but
yeah.
All right, let's move on. I think we gave them a lot of value there. Have these sources developed over time? These sources of business?
Yeah. I think they developed in a way of because I have more to send to, I feel like, starting out, and I know there may be agents listening well, I don't have a lot of past clients, to send this to. And you may have, more so of a challenge, getting just organic listings because you have to build to that. In year 1, I couldn't do it. Year 2, not even. But now, just even off my business alone last year, now I have 50 more people to potentially get referrals or listings from, you know what I mean?
And they all know everybody knows 250 people. So you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great. A good one I've had is I've been sending an email and the headline's been forward this to someone, that may be whatever it's related to.
Yeah.
And I've been having good activity with that.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's just about adding value, not trying to get just a sale out of it. So
yeah, that's a mindset shift too. Cause like, what they call it, like you can definitely have commission breath, like, and the consumers know like, oh yeah, he's just trying to sell me. Like, but if you actually take a step back, cause I value my business, like when I'm promoting, like, hey, I'm there from you from start to finish and beyond, because it's like, I even have past clients that still call me to this day, Sabri, what do I do with this trash? Or my neighbor did this, and I love those calls because, I'm the first person they think about when it comes to that. So hopefully when they're having a conversation, they may mention me, but even if they don't, that's just my moral obligation as a realtor to be there for them, So when you give value, it's going to come back to you in the universe.
100%.
Yeah.
And you said another source, or I don't know if you did say it or not, but you get a lot from social media, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Social media is if you use it the right way, it can be very, very powerful and beneficial when it comes to the organic reach that you can give for free.
Do you have any recommendations for people that, well, for me, there's two sides of it. Like one, I can't spend all my time just making videos, and it's easy to get stuck in that trap.
Yeah.
Two, every time I open social media, it's somebody had this accomplishment or that, and I'm struggling to get a listing, and here's someone just posted they closed 6 listings, and it's like,
how do you
stay positive and use it, to generate business with all that?
Yeah, man, that's a big one, and we talk about that, like the struggles we have, like when, like you said, you may have like lost like a couple listing appointments, and you see someone from Remax or something like that, just like it's just killing it,
Right.
And you really have to scale back and just realize, like, in no matter what business or what avenue you're in, social media is a highlight reel. So that posting, like someone may be posting a closing from 2 weeks or a month ago just to get some organic reach, but just going into it and just knowing that, like, it's your journey, is your, having in regards to the mindset of it and not getting caught in that rabbit hole. It's easier said than done. I have my challenges too, but trying to like maybe shift the algorithm too, like, because now on social media, if there's something that pops up that's distracting to you, you can put not interested. So now maybe your algorithm, as soon as you open it, you may have a positive quote or David Goggins popping up, and now he had you jumping through a wall. But but yeah, man, I think that would be the biggest recommendation for the mindset in regards to how social media can be a benefit. I would say consistency. Scheduling out your content, because it can be an hour trying to edit it yourself. Beautiful thing here, we have a whole team, social media team here. Shane has like been a big game changer for us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that, because now that's one less thing I have to worry about. Now I can just go ahead and just post it, get the caption. Engagement on your stories is a real big thing. Finding some creative ways to get people, engaged in, whether it's guessing the price or showing them a day in a life, those type of things, so people can come along the journey with you, and when it's their time, they'll use you.
Yeah. And it stays top of mind too. I mean, builds trust. It kind of checks all the boxes. Like it's a relationship business. You got to be on social media.
Yeah. Or you get left behind.
Yeah. It's not, I don't want to be on it, but I have to be.
Yep.
So, Shane's doing a great job. And I think you got to get your videos to another level kind of nowadays, because everyone's posting videos.
Yeah.
When you came over, you kind of like got me going with videos and stuff like that. And, I was doing a little bit before, but I wasn't like scheduled out with it.
Yeah.
And,
it's a game. It's definitely like a necessity in business now. And just like you said, time blocking it out and getting on there for its purpose, and just use it for that, and get off after, put your phone away. Yeah. And you helped me, like put the time limit on there.
Yeah.
And I told you that was one of my biggest distractions. You go in the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But putting that time limit on there, now it's like, all right, I got my hour in, or 30 minutes, whatever it is. And now you're off till
you're
the
done.
next day.
Yeah. And when you're on there, you're right. My algorithm's dialed in. It's all like, positive stuff and real estate stuff like that. So that's good. I mean, if you think about it, like in the 90s, if we were in the business in the 90s, to get a video like that in front of that big of an audience, like companies would go negotiate with like ABC and, you know, sign these $1 million contracts to get on there, and then boom. We're at a time now where you could pull out your cell phone, take a video, and within a minute, it's getting seen by, you know, hundreds of people. Everyone that knows you is watching a video of you, you know, as a real estate expert. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's powerful.
You got to take advantage of that.
For sure. It's free, like you said, man.
Yeah.
Another pop up in their face. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's keep it moving. Mm-hmm. I know each one of these topics we could do an hour-long conversation with, but and it's taken everything in my body not to. But,
no, you're doing good, man. You good. I like the way you flowing, man.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, awesome. So, daily routine. I think a lot of people want to know, successful real estate agent, what's the daily routine look like? How much of your day can you control? And then do you schedule your day in advance?
Yeah. It starts out with the night before.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, what you can call it, closing out your day.
Yeah.
Like that's been a huge game changer. Closing out your day, for reference, I learned that when I came here. You know, going after the long day, whatever it is, take that 30 minutes or however long, 15 to 30 minutes to go through your emails, make sure you didn't miss anything, go through your text messages, your voicemails, so that way you didn't miss any opportunities that day. And if you can't call them back that night, you know, put it on your calendar for tomorrow. Make sure your calendar is set up. Make sure you kind of, you know what the next day is ahead, so you can mentally get prepared. And winning the morning is a key for me. Mm-hmm. I have to win the morning. Like, so having that morning routine of waking up, going to the gym, or doing some type of activity, is getting that first win of the day, making your bed. You know, those first wins I can control before my phone starts to ring. So getting up early enough to avoid the chaos once it starts, because we know in our business, you know, our day can kind of spiral out. We may have a schedule, and then it may, you know, we end up working till 10. So
yeah,
hedging that morning.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if I don't get my morning, I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah. You see the trickle throughout the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and you're so much more productive. I mean, like, if you look at professional athletes, they do anything just to get a 1% edge.
Yep.
You know, and if you could increase your business by 20, I would say I'm 50% more productive. If I close out my day, do my morning routine, work out, and I'm ready for the day, no questions asked.
Game changer.
Awesome. Do you have any productivity habits that you found most effective in managing your workload?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier briefly, time blocking.
Yeah.
Has definitely been the main thing. And kind of like, in time block, I don't mean just put it on your calendar, but actually like really time blocking and sticking to it. Like, so boom, I'm calling for 2 hours. You got to silence your notifications, because you may get a call from your lender or you know, sorry, our lender have us on the phone, but you may get a call from a past client or whatever it is. Like, you just have to really stick through that and then get back to it. Like, emails and things like that. Time blocking has been a game changer.
Yeah. And I think you got to make sure you don't go too hard with that, because, you know, like, I used to be like, I'm only prospecting. I'm not listening to incoming calls. Well, I got people calling me to go, can you come to my house? Can you come list my house? Like, no, I got prospecting. Like, okay, that's too far.
Yeah.
You know? But,
within reason. Like,
yeah, you got to have stuff. You got to have stuff, and stuff's going to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we always talk about just make sure you find another spot. Like, I'll leave spots for Thursday and Friday in my calendar empty. So that way, if something like that comes up, I drag it right on my calendar to another spot, you know, fill it. So.
Yeah. Pushing it like you said, like I said that earlier, like if I have some morning appointments during my normal call session, push it to the evening. Yeah. And actually, I get better pickup rate sometimes because people are home. So.
And I think they kind of respect the hustle when you, like I called an agent yesterday and he was like, I'm not going anywhere, man. I'm about to retire, but like, I respect what you're doing. Like calling me this late and just getting your stuff done. Sellers are the same way. They're like, you know, no one else is calling them at that time. Mm-hmm. Of course, 1 in 5 are going to cuss you out and tell you they're in the middle of eating dinner. But.
Yeah. That just comes with it.
Yeah. All right. Advice for new agents. What would you say if you were a new agent again, you could start day one, planning your first year? What would you say is the most important things for new agents to focus on in their first year?
In their first year, really just like trying to just soak up as much experience as possible, just doing the activities of a realtor. Like you may not have, the client base and things like that, but there's a lot of free things that you can do to get in front of people. So if I was a newer agent and I had my weekends free, I would be doing an open house on Saturday and Sunday, getting in front of those people. I would definitely find an accountability partner at my brokerage or can be anybody to practice my scripts. And, just get that much comfortable doing those type of things. Definitely social media. I would post while you have the time, like, build that brand awareness, you know what I mean? So that way, when you start closing deals, now you have a compilation of videos for people to see. And now you have that. A lot of people already know you and like you, but you say now you just have to get them to trust you. So just doing those daily activities, I think in the beginning, doing as much as possible to figure out what works for you.
Awesome. Yeah, 100%. So, and then if you already knew all, your scripts and stuff like that, you think it's pretty much, I think we've kind of been beating it. It's just being disciplined and calling. Being
disciplined and calling. And also, I didn't mention that, like, as a newer agent, I probably would have joined maybe a team or some type of broker environment where I had that support or a mentor.
Yeah.
So that way you're not just jumping out blindly. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely worth it to maybe shadow an experienced agent to know what to do. Cause a lot of times you just jump out there and don't know, like, what should I be doing today?
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the weirdest things for me when I would go to work and not know what to do.
Yeah. Just twiddling your thumbs. It's just like, what am I supposed to be doing as a real estate agent?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So this question's kind of similar to what we've already had, but are there any key habits, I guess kind of what we've already talked about, or skills agents should adapt?
Yeah. Key habits and skills. The habits are definitely morning routine for sure. Whatever your lead pillars are, just staying consistent with those. It comes down to consistency. I know it sounds very generic, but consistency, even if you're not the best person on the phone or the best person on social media or in front of video, the consistency is going to set you apart. Like I remember when we first did videos, we were just like, a lot of people on the outside, they think, oh yeah, you're killing it on video, but you saw firsthand, how many times, we got to redo that. We got to redo that, but the practice, the more practice you get, the more one takes it'll take, and just get better at it over time.
That's so funny. I remember actually when you joined, we were doing video before that, but we weren't doing it at this level.
Yeah.
And I remember telling everybody Sabri's coming, he's the video expert, he's gonna show us all what to do, it's all it's game over. And you're like, all right, hold on, I gotta do another take. And I'm like, wait, everybody messes up?
Everybody. I mean? Yeah, man. See, and then even with calling, seeing, remember that time when we were calling and I messed up? Little stuff like that. There were a bunch of newer agents in the room and we were calling expires and FSBOs. And that's something that was newer for me at the time. And I forgot what I said. I messed up on the phone and I was leaving a voicemail and I got tongue tied and I said, damn. And everyone started laughing. Yeah.
You called her back, didn't you?
Yeah, I cleared it up and she was laughing about it. But
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Man, she was probably cracking up. Let's keep going here. I know we're getting short on time. How do you think your approach to real estate has evolved since you started?
My approach to it has evolved where I kind of, made reference to it earlier, where it's the way I look at it is different. It's not just about oh yeah, I'm trying to get paid or I'm trying to get a commission. I kind of look at it as it's a part of me now. And I have a moral obligation to the public, and the people that I'm serving to really and when you kind of dial it back, you are making a huge difference in people's lives. I talk to people sometimes and you may have days where it's you're getting cursed out or you have a few difficult clients to deal with, but then you have that one client that just reminds you why you got into this. Clients that didn't think that a mortgage was possible. They're first generation homeowners and, people that are in, short sale or foreclosure situations. You come in and help them, save the deal and not have to go into a bankruptcy. Little stuff like that. Just a reminder, we're making a huge difference. And I think having that approach every day keeps me going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. It's crazy because it's you see it all the time. The agents that are in it for the money only carry you so far. And then it's you can almost smell that commission breath and you're like,
Yeah.
We see it all the time. People negotiating for their clients and they're throwing their clients under the bus, this, that, and the other. And it's like, I feel bad.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's a good way to summarize. I think that's the best thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward, what are your goals for next year? How do you plan to achieve them?
Yeah, man. So I put it out there that I said I wanted to do help 25 more families this year than I did last year. So numbers wise, that would be 75 transactions. Right. I know you wanted me to do more, right? but if it's possible.
What I was saying is, I think 100. It's easier to build systems for 100.
For 100, right?
Than to build our systems for 75 when we were already at 50.
Already at 50, yeah.
So,
and it's kind of like, even though that 100 sounds like very scary, it's
right.
like, and I know I'm in my head about it, just like, well, you know what? Why not? Like, if
right.
I shoot for 100 and land at 75, or land at 80 or 90, like, man, like, that's another thing going back to when I thought 50 was on the table. Mm-hmm. But like, you helped me put some systems in place to make that possible. And I know you asked, like, how am I going to make that happen? Like, I think following the systems this year, really leveraging others and my time, letting technology work for me, buyers, agents, and things like that, really sticking to the schedule. Because I can even look back when I did 50, there was a lot of like deals I left on the table due to my own like follow up and things like that. So the first half of the year, I wasn't very like conscious about it. But this year, like, let's see what a whole year of this consistent and dialed in follow up will do for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's all it is. It's just consistency, and you can do 100. I can see it. You know what I mean? But it's hard when you're in your own mind to be like, can I do that? That's crazy. You know? But like, there's people out there doing 500 deals a year, and
man,
it's
just like, it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. We got the pieces, and we can get there. I think that's pretty much it for today. If you guys are interested in learning any more, you can follow Sabri or me on Instagram, all of our social medias. We'll have all the links and everything here. But we'd love to network with you guys, talk with you. Let us know your feedback. If you think this was important or someone might learn something, please share our episode with somebody you know. And, hopefully we can help make a difference in their business.